In the end, the only thing I saw was a flash. An insufferable burning light. The pain ripping apart my body.
Okay, so I've got to put my hands up right away and say that I was totally wrong about Kholat. When I mentioned it in my 5 exciting survival games for 2015 video, there was not that much info around for it, and from what I could piece together in my tiny mind, from the blurb and the gameplay available, I was thinking it was going to be something like Outlast meets The Long Dark, narrated by Sean Bean. But yeah, I was wrong, and maybe slightly disappointed. But not about the Sean Bean bit.
I am right behind you.
The closest comparison to Kholat would actually be Dear Esther, which is a bit of a Marmite game. Some love it, some hate it, and heck, some people don't even think it is a game. I played Dear Esther, but it never really appealed to me. To be honest, I thought it was a bit boring. The creators of Kholat didn't share my opinion though. They loved it so much it inspired the direction of this game, and now it turns out the final product will be a narrative-driven exploration game where a brooding atmosphere is punctuated with a few moments of horror guaranteed to make your skin crawl. I played a 2-hour-long segment which takes place about midway into the game, starting stranded and lonely on a frozen lake. It was dark and disorienting, and there was Sean Bean in my ears.
You know, at the beginning, I wanted to make things right. I believed God itself touched me.
There's no objective marker to following Kholat in this portion of the game. The aim was to explore the mountain and find a series of notes hidden around the landscape. There's not much to help you with this task. You just get a map and a compass, and then you're left to your own devices. The thing is, Kholat, which is due for release on the 25th of April, isn't really about the gameplay. There are slight gameplay elements in there. I mean, you can be killed by natural or unnatural events, and you have to navigate a multiple-pathed landscape to find clues to unravel the plot, but the main objective the developers have with Kholat is to tell a compelling story. They want the mystery of why you are up on this mountain to push you forward, and they do a really good job of encouraging this by creating a well-written narrative that is based on a real-life spooky happening called the Dilatov Pass incident.
Is that you?
There's no real official explanation for the Dilatov Pass incident, so the developers of Kholat have come up with their own, and it's by exploring and finding notes left by fellow mountaineers that you can start piecing together their version of events. Although I got nowhere near the bottom of this mystery in my playthrough, it's safe to say Kholat is going the supernatural route, because spotting ghosties on the mountainside is not a rare occurrence. There are 2 types of ghosts you'll come across: yellow ones, which seem more like echoes of past events than actual ghosts, and then there are these dark orange ones, which are easy to avoid but will attack you if you get too close, resulting in an insta-kill. The majority of these run-ins seem scripted though, so you'll get none of those "oh my god, something's stalking me" feelings that you'll get from a game of Slender. In fact, a lot of the game will be taken up with just walking around, looking at mountains and reading stuff, which for a lot of gamers will probably get pretty dull. There are a few standout moments though. A real jaw-dropper for me came after about an hour into the demo, when I pushed through a tree line and was confronted by a frozen river. As the music began to rise, the ghostly figures who stood upon it began running from something. I turned to look, and behind me a huge cloud of orange fog had risen up and was consuming the surrounding woodland. I turned and ran with the ghosts, following them up a hill. The fog crept into my peripheral vision, and then it was all around me. I made it out safely though, and later, as I wandered back along my escape route, the once lush snow-covered trees were now smouldering husks, the bark still covered in glowing embers. Whatever that fog was had killed everything in its path, and the thought sent a shiver down my spine. Kholat, then created in Unreal Engine 4, has some stunningly beautiful visuals and set pieces. There were quite a few times when I just stood on the side of a cliff staring out at the world. The crisp graphics and the haunting audio come together to create a world so immersive, it really is a shame that so far there has been no VR support officially announced. A game like this that already has so much atmosphere would be a perfect fit. If the idea of an interactive novel sounds boring to you, then this game will definitely leave you out in the cold. If, however, you are looking for an experience a bit more cerebral than your ordinary game, a slow-paced whodunit filled with riddles and unanswered questions, then Kholat might be for you. This is a game about finding answers, about searching for yourself as well as others. There's as many unanswered questions in Kholat as there are in the real-life event it's inspired by, but with Kholat you might just be able to find out the answers. As long as you're curious and patient enough to brave the horrors of the mountain all by yourself.